Hello everybody, this is Tim here again. Here's my review for Ernest Goes to School. Just to start off, fuck this movie. This movie sucks. Just my rating for this film. This film is a barely passable 2 stars. It barely scrapes by the skin of its teeth. This is a horrible fucking movie. Um, I wouldn't say absolutely horrible. It's just so stupid. All the other Ernest movies, despite how out there the plots was, they were still had some like reality basis. There's nothing in this film, no reality basis in this film at all. This film is a live action cartoon. This like has the tone of something of like Son of the Mask, where you can just do anything. We know how fucking horrible Son of the Mask came out. Well, this is pretty much that same boat, except it's a little bit more durable because it's Jim Varney in it. And I'll admit, there's maybe like 2 or 3 scenes in this film that are really funny. Most of it's just shit. Basically, you got this guy who's wanting to shut down the school that Ernest works at. Ernest works at a school as a janitor, and this guy's wanting to shut it down. And Ernest has to go back to school to graduate because everybody who works at the school has to be a high school graduate. So he has to go back to school to graduate. I mean, and of course he gets picked on at school and everything. And I recognize the fat kid who picks on him at school. It's like the guy from Mad TV, the guy from the Three Stooges movie who played the fat Three Stooge. I recognize him. I think his name might be Will Sasso or something like that. He actually is funny. I like him on Mad TV. I enjoy him. I enjoyed him on Mad TV when it was on. I liked him on Mad TV. Here he's just obnoxious. I just couldn't stand him, and him and this other guy, who were like these football players. And they would put a pen down in Ernest's seat, and he would sit down on it, and it like jab him in the ass. And I'm like, oh wow, who the fuck does that? I mean, especially in high school. I don't know, whatever. And they would do shit like they would set Ernest's head on fire and everything. And like I said, there's no reality basis here at all. You set another person's head on fire in school or anywhere else, you fucking going to jail. I mean, what's up with this shit? I don't get it, but whatever. Uh, there's like these 2 scientists in it, and one of the guys is the one who's always with the bigger guy. They were in Ernest Goes to Jail together as Chuck and Bobby. Bobby is in this one, but Chuck isn't. But the girl from Ernest Rides Again, I believe it's her, who played the character Abner's wife in that movie. She's in this one playing Bobby's sister, and they're like scientists. They were okay. I enjoyed them. And I do like the basic idea of this movie. I'll admit, I do like the basic idea of this movie. Ernest going back to school could be mildly interesting. Um, and what they do is they use this like brain accelerator machine on Ernest to make him super smart. That's interesting. That could be fun, and you get some fun stuff with it. When Ernest becomes super smart, he just becomes the greatest at every single thing, including like every sport or whatever. Especially at least he becomes the greatest at football. Um, and like and band, he becomes the greatest at band. Um, so he pretty much takes over the entire school and all the important stuff. Like he takes over the band and makes them good, or tries to make them good. He takes over. At the end of it, he saves the school by winning the football match. Um, so you got Ernest Smart, and you get like this real funny scene where his stuff starts wearing off, his intelligence starts wearing off in the middle of class, and he has to go recharge. And you get Jim Varney making these really goofy noises and sounds and stuff like "sibba dab da da dab da da da," shit like that. He does it perfectly. Jim Varney's not the problem with this movie. The writing in this film is really bad. I'll admit, if it wasn't for the really cartoony part, the really cartoony part doesn't completely kick in until the ending when they're in the football game. Up until then, it's cartoony, but not super cartoony. By then, though, like any reality just gets flushed down the toilet, right down the shitter, and this film just goes straight to hell in a handbasket. But I can't hate any Ernest film. I can't hate any Ernest film with Jim Varney in it. This one is really pushing it. Um, yeah, they give him super intelligence. He knows everything, but he's also an asshole because he's really high on himself and his ego's boosted by like a million. You get this funny scene though where they're like Bobby and his sister are experimenting on this pig. I think his sister's name, her character's name is Gerda, I believe, could be. They're experimenting on this pig, and it's like trying to solve this math problem. And Ernest is like holding up his fingers, trying to give it the right answer, but of course it turns out it's the wrong answer. And the pig types in what Ernest tells it, and it's the wrong answer. I thought that was mildly amusing. you get Ernest wrestling, and he's wrestling in the high school, and he gets in the wrestling match with this other coach, and it's mildly entertaining because the guy like pulls Ernest's legs up over his head and everything, and Ernest is like looking and saying, "Coach, I got him pinned." I thought that was funny. And then what's funny is Ernest like grabs just like one of his fingers and just like his pinky finger and holds it down, and the guy he's wrestling is like screaming in pain. I thought that was funny. Then you get more stupid cartoony shit where the guy he's wrestling like throws him through the air, lands in a basketball, fucking basketball goal, and it like stretches the net like all the way down, like enough to cover his entire body almost, Ernest's entire body. I'm like, what's up with this stupid cartoony shit? I don't get this. This does not help the movie. And then at the end of the movie, when Ernest has to help win the football match because the guy who's the coach has betrayed the school and is like siding with the dude who's wanting to close it down. And for some reason, the guy who's wanting to close the school down acts like he has some kind of personal fucking vendetta against the school. I don't get that. I don't understand that. He's like hell bent on closing this shitty ass school down. I don't understand that at all. Other actors I recognize in this film. I recognize Sarah Chalk. She plays one of the students. She was in Roseanne as the replacement actor. I mean, for the character of Becky. She's okay. Um, Ernest has these two friends in school. One of them's name is Donald, I believe. I don't know the other boy's name. They're all right. Nothing to write home about. Eventually, at the end, though, it's like what the guy's wanting to close down the school. Like I said, he has like a personal vendetta against the school for some reason. Like the reason I say that is because he's like hell bent on closing the school down, no matter what. And he tries to like talk the coach into siding with him, the coach of the football team, and telling him that when they close the school down, and he'll give him like a new coaching job or whatever at the new school. And I'm like, why is he going through all this fucking trouble of doing all this shit just to win the match? That doesn't. Why is he going through all this trouble or whatever just to close the school down, and making crooked deals with people and everything? I mean, what's up with this? He's just a villain just to be a villain. Ernest's got a crush on this teacher at school that's mildly amusing. You get this really funny scene where Ernest like loses his paper with all the classrooms he's got to go to wrote down on it, and the hall monitor comes out and it's like this cowboy on a horse. I thought that was mildly amusing. And he like hands him he says you'll need a hall pass, and he tells Ernest where math class is, and Ernest looks back, and the cowboy like disappears. It fades away like he's a ghost or something. There's even like a tumbleweed blowing by or whatever. I thought that was mildly amusing just because it was so out there. It made me laugh. But you get to the end of the movie where the coach sells him out, and that Ernest has to help him win the match. And fucking they dress up as the football team. They nerve gas him with some gas that Bobby and his sister made. Well, not nerve gas, but sleeping gas. And they gas them, take their clothes. Then the thing is when they play the football game, they do like plays and stuff like that. I'm not an expert on football. I'm not. But they do plays and stuff that obviously are not real, and it like shows the other team beating up on Ernest and everything. They got him like hammering him into the ground with a hammer, and he's actually going down into the ground. Stupid shit like that. That's so stupid, it's unbelievable. I don't understand that stupid ass cartoony shit. I really don't know why anybody who worked on this film would have thought that was a good idea. I don't get that. But eventually Ernest and them start doing like these really whacked out plays that would never count in real life at all. Like they fucking like all at once are lined up with the other team, and then they start dancing with the other team to distract them so they can steal the football. And the announcer guy's like, "Oh, what an awesome play! Didn't see that coming." I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, he doesn't say that, but still, he's like talking about how great the Muskrat team is, and I'm like, what? Whatever. But yeah. So Ernest and them have like stolen the football team's clothes so they can win the match for the school to keep it open. And I'm like, but it's the plays that they do and everything, and all this cartoony shit that almost kills this movie completely. Yeah. Then they start doing like this one thing. One thing I thought was mildly amusing is they get like Sarah Chalk to like hit on one of the other football players, pretend like she's interested in him, and Ernest comes by like behind her dressed up as Cupid and like shoots an arrow at the guy. Thought that was mildly cutesy. This is okay. So then Sarah Chalk like steals the football from him or gets him to like hand it to her because he thinks that she's got a crush on him. Of course, they score, and eventually by the end of the movie, of course, Ernest gets the winning touchdown. But he does it by jumping on top of this school drum and like rolling on it to the others to the to score. I mean, he rolls on this big drum to do the final score to win the match, and I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway, like I said, there's no. You can do anything in this movie. I was waiting for Ernest just to transform into a fucking rocket ship and just blast from one end of the field to the other one with the football in his hand and just win the match. I mean, why not? But whatever. And then at the end of the film, after they've won everything, oh, you get this. Of course, the machine gets tore up in the movie by the two asshole guys who are picking on Ernest, the machine that gives Ernest knowledge. This is before the football match, and so he has to actually study for the test. And you get some goofy but slightly amusing scenes here where the student, I mean the teacher, who is giving the test to Ernest. She looks like a big drill sergeant. It's like the end of the year test, and to Ernest, she looks like a big drill sergeant, which is funny. And Ernest has got this fly in front of him, and she walks over next to him, and her tongue shoots out like a big lizard tongue and grabs the fly, and she eats it. It just makes no sense whatsoever. But like the cowboy scene, it makes me laugh because it's so over the top and ridiculous. Um, but yeah, but and then at the main end of the movie, the teacher who has a crush on Ernest like shows up, and Ernest is sitting there, and he's made this toy for her, like this ballerina dancing thing or whatever, like the little ballerina things that spin around, musical ballerinas, I guess. And it starts like making this loud, annoying ass buzzing sound, and he like busts the shit out of it and sticks the batteries in his mouth and like chews up on it to make it to stop. That was okay, but yeah, all in all, because of the whole cartoony like vibe of this film and everything, and then right then after he just chews on the batteries, it just ends right there. It's just over. So I'm like, why does it just end like that? It just like ends like right there. That doesn't seem like a very good ending for the film, but whatever. But yeah, this is a barely scrapable by 2-star film. Just barely edges it, just barely. This is not a good film. This is not a great film. This is definitely not an amazing film. This is not even an okay film. This is just a barely passable film just because it's got Jim Varney in it. If it wasn't for Jim Varney, this film would not even be watchable. I'll just admit it right now. I'll probably won't ever watch this film for years to come until I get to another Ernest marathon. But as far as it goes, this is the worst one I've seen by far. So I'll see you guys again with Ernest. Well, Slam Dunk Ernest, I believe, is the next one. So I'll see you guys again with Slam Dunk Ernest.